we are creating a platform for those who are curious, one that tells the story from the artist's perspective, moments in time captured from the innovators who are reshaping dance, music, theater, and the visual arts. This is the Working Artist Project.
Today I want to welcome Donna Vaughn to the Working Artist Project.
The Donna Vaughn.
Oh, sorry.
Just
Donna
kidding,
Vaughn.
just kidding, just kidding.
But I like to call her affectionately Hollywood.
Oh, God.
So I want to back things up. So what were your parents like coming up, and how did they, guide you or support you in your dreams of becoming a dancer?
Well, once my mom put me in dance, I always ask her, like, why didn't you put me in singing, or why didn't you let me play volleyball or play the piano? And she's like, girl, you just wanted to dance. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I guess that's valid. But once she put me in dance, I guess she saw that I was maybe around high school. You can kind of tell, like, where you're going to go.
Right.
And she noticed that I was, like, really serious about it. And so she just, like, my mom and dad are the type of people that will support me no matter what I want to do. And so I think that they were like, if this is what you want to do, like, is everybody on board? And then it was kind of like a go from there. A lot on my mom, though, because she had to travel with me all the time. Like, competitions aren't just in Maryland, but they're, like, everywhere. Mm-hmm. So flying, like, competition fees, like, that stuff is super expensive.
So she's like a stage mom. She's like,
I wouldn't say she's like a dance stage mom, but she, like, more now because my niece is in it. Mm-hmm. But she was very much behind the scenes. But if I needed her to pop forward, she was just right there. My dad was like, whatever you want to do is fine. So, yeah, I've had the support of my parents from a very young age.
That's great, man. It's kind of rare. A lot of people don't have that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Especially later. I think parents are more prone to support at the beginning, right? It's like, oh, my kid's in all these activities. And if they choose art over law school, sometimes that can be a challenge, for the parents.
Yeah, I think after my dad, he still really wanted me to pursue sports medicine because I always also wanted to be that first woman. Now you see them everywhere, but when I was back in high school, I never saw women doing, like, on the sidelines of, like, the football games. And I was like, I could be that person. And so my dad, even after I graduated and, like, moved to Chicago, he was like, so are you gonna, still, like, in the back of his mind wanting to make sure that I was still studying and getting that education as I was continuing dance. But now he's just like, live your life.
Well, with good reason. So you just mentioned that after school you moved to Chicago. Like, why did you choose Chicago? So cold.
It's so cold, but it's beautiful. I auditioned. So when you go to school for dance, or college rather, and you've been dancing all your life, you either, like, stop dancing and you teach, or you have the dream to tour. Mm-hmm. Or dance with a company. So my dream was to dance with a dance company called Hubbard Street, which is in Chicago.
Okay.
So I auditioned, like, twice while I was it my junior year of college? Found out that I was accepted. And then after graduation, I just moved there and danced with them for, I don't know, maybe 2 years.
So how did you feel when that's like your first gig, man? Like, right out of school, like, how did that make you feel when you got that acceptance letter, Or I'm assuming, was it a phone call or a letter? How does that work?
It was a phone call.
Okay.
Emails, tons of emails. Mm-hmm. I actually have to say, I'm not really scared of much. Like, I'm scared of, like, spiders and, like, weird foods and stuff. But I was scared of that because it's a whole new world, like,
right.
You leave Baltimore where I'm born and raised, and I've been there all my life. And then I go to Virginia, where I've been there for 4 years. So it's like a second home. And then you go to this different place where it's like, you don't know anyone. It's cold. It's new. You have a new apartment. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah.
So I was, like, super nervous. But then I auditioned for Lion King.
Ah.
And then never heard back I heard back 6 months later. But anyway, I had already taken on the second company that I was dancing with. And both companies, you know, they were like my first, like my dream companies where I was able to tour the world and experience different things and cultures. And yeah, it was pretty awesome to live that first dream of mine.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay, so you get the gig at Lion King. Like, how does that work? Like, are you on auditions? Like, do you have an agent at this point? What's going on?
No. So another dream of mine was always to be in the Lion King. And I heard that they were looking for new cast members but you never know like what they're looking for. Like sometimes it'll say immediate replacement, or sometimes like what a lot of people don't know is these Broadway shows have auditions like every 6 months to have people in case someone gets injured or let go or whatever. So in my case, they were opening up a new show in Las Vegas, a new cast. So I went in like August and they called me back in like February. So, you know, you come to New York, you audition. One of my mentors, Kenny, was in the show, who's still in the show. And he was like...
Kenny who?
Kenny Ingram.
Kenny Ingram, for all of us from Chicago who don't know.
And so he said, you know, Lion King's going to be coming to New York. You should audition. And I was like, I don't sing. And he was like, okay, we can fix this. So he set me up with this lady in Chicago. I don't remember her name, but she had to be like 85. And she was a music teacher. So I started going to her, and she helped me learn the basics of like how to keep a tune.
Let's hear it.
No way, Jose. And like we studied like or worked on like 3 different songs. And so I flew to New York. I auditioned for the show, made it past the dance part. And then they asked me to sing. And I was like, holy moly, like super nervous. Because this is the first time that I'm singing in front of like where it really matters.
Right.
And they had me sing my song like 3 times. Because they said I speak too softly, as you just told me. And they needed me to like sing out anyway. Yeah. So yeah, they called me 6 months later, which you forget that you even audition. You know, you just go to these gigs. And
right, you just forget. The thing you dreamed of your whole life. You just say, oh yeah, I forgot about them.
Yeah. 6 months later, you have to forget. If they, you're like, okay, after 2 months, they're not calling you.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? In this industry. Yeah. But, so yeah, they called me 6 months later, and they were like, we're opening up a new show in Vegas. And I was like, Vegas? Can't go to Vegas. So, yeah.
You said I can't go to Vegas?
Can't go to Vegas.
Why?
I mean, I had been to Vegas 18, but not like 18 and over. Because I've had like tons of competitions there. Mm-hmm. But I was like, Mom, can I live in Vegas? And she was like, that's the only way that you're going to get into the show. Like, why not?
Right. And so you moved across country. You're living in Vegas. You're doing the show. What was the first day like on the show? Like, you get in there. What happens?
Rehearsals?
Yeah, like just the first day. Your first day, you're like, oh, my God. Like, what happens?
It was one of the most amazing days of my life because we're in this huge, like, space, like warehousey kind of space. I'll never forget. It was called Safari Business Park, and it actually had like elephants and like animals on it, and it wasn't even like for Lion King. Anyway, it was our rehearsal space, so I got to meet everyone who's in the show with me, and like, you know, we don't know anyone's name or anything, but the cool part was that we got to meet the South Africans who were going to be in the show with us, and like learning how to speak Zulu. And I mean, it was just nuts. It was like very surreal. I actually haven't thought about that day until now. That's really strange. So yeah, we all went around and said like where we were from, and like
it's like the first day of school.
Yeah,
I'm from Minnesota.
Yeah,
well,
it was crazy. But... right. Yeah, it was awesome.
Wow, that's amazing, man. That's crazy. So, okay, cool. So you're in Vegas, you're doing a thing, you had your first day, and all of a sudden you're getting paid. And I mean, do you consider that like being on Broadway, even though the show isn't here in New York City?
Yes, a Broadway show is a Broadway show, even when it's not on Broadway. However, there's nothing compared to being on Broadway. So it's a way to get here. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, there I was living somewhere where it's super cheap to live. I was getting paid per diem. It seemed like I was living on vacation for like 3 years.
Right.
And then you come here and that all changes, even though you're on Broadway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So like so even though you were on the show in New York City, in Las Vegas, your focus was to be on the show here in New York City.
Well, interesting question. Well, my focus was to be where I was living in that moment, because for me, it was already like a whole new world from like being in a dance company. Like it's a total different thing. Like I'm doing the same thing every day. So it was like I was trying to get used to even doing that. You know what I mean? And getting used to like my surroundings of being in Vegas. I went from like it being freezing cold to like it being super hot. The meeting new people. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say until maybe like a year and a half in, I was like, okay, this is fun. And crazy enough is I remember calling my mom and being like, so after 2 years, I'm going to just move to New York. She was like, okay, whatever you want to do is fine. And then we had a meeting. It was probably like 2 weeks or 2 months, I can't remember, after I had this conversation with my mom. And they were like, we're closing.
What?
Mm-hmm. But they gave us like a year to prepare. Mm-hmm. Whereas on Broadway, you open a show here and in 2 weeks they can be like, we're closing. So we had a year to prepare, to save, to like get your entire life in order.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you don't have to freak out. So I was like, okay, great. I didn't even have to tell them I was leaving because we're closing all together, you know? And then I got a call from one of my friends who's here now, one of my best friends who was in the show, who started the show with me in Vegas, but he was already here on the Broadway show. And he was like, I feel like somebody may be leaving.
He had a little in. He was like, yo.
Yeah, he was like, you should call.
Right.
And I was like, huh? Okay. I was like, they already know that I want to come to New York because I talked to them about it. And so, yeah, whatever. So then another one of my mentors who was on the show, who's from Baltimore, was like, no, you need to tell them. And I was like, oh my God, okay. So I just sent a little casual email. And, you know, you never hear back. They can do whatever they want to do. Right. Or they'll say like, yeah, we know. Or, you know how they keep it very businessy. And then I was going to Target and I got a call and they were like, so we want to offer you the gig on Broadway. And I was like, what?
Dang.
And so, yeah.
He was like, you start dapping in there with him.
It was literally, though, I had 2 weeks to move my life. Like, it's not
so it was
a game
quick.
out
it
here.
Was like, yo, be here in 2 weeks or else. And so
Thankfully, my dad works for Mayflower. And so I had to just, like, pack it up and he, like, ships it. Like, he shipped me from school to Chicago, from Chicago to Vegas, and then from Vegas
to New York.
Yeah.
Super dad. Doing what he do. He's my inspiration.
Okay. Don't be dramatic. But
no, that's cool, man.
2 weeks.
Wow, that's insane. Like, so you found an apartment in New York. Nobody can find an apartment in New York for 2 weeks.
I lived in Brooklyn.
You lived in Brooklyn?
I lived in Brooklyn.
I feel like everybody lives in Brooklyn when they first moved.
It was so far. I think I got hurt. Oh yeah, I came here and I got hurt. I hurt my ankle. It was too much walking for me. Anyway, I lived in Brooklyn. When you go from driving, you can't walk in Vegas. Everywhere you have to have a car.
I'm from Mississippi. I get it. I totally get it. You know what I mean? I'm with you.
It was a rough start, I tell you that. But, you know, we're here. It's Broadway. Yeah. It's New York.
So cool. So then you get on Broadway. You're like in it. You know what I mean? Like, did you get an agent right away? Or are you just like, did you feel like a little country girl in a big city? Like, what was the vibe?
I just felt like I was so thankful to be here because I've always wanted to live here. But at the same time, I felt so lost. You know, you're kind of like, because everything went so fast. Like, I had 2 weeks to, like, change everything and move. I got here and I stayed in a hotel first.
Oh, wow.
I had 2 rehearsals and then I went into the show.
Oh, but you already knew it. But I'm assuming the show was the same as it was.
No, it's not the same.
Oh, it's different.
Because the tracks are different.
Okay.
So I had to learn another, like an added track to my track.
So you're in a hotel room just getting it in, just like in the mirror trying to get it together.
Yeah.
So were you nervous? Like,
I was super nervous and everyone's just like, oh, you've done the show before. And it's like, it doesn't matter because that was there and this is here.
Right.
And like, it's Broadway. Like like we were in a Broadway show in Vegas, but this is like your Broadway debut. So it was like, I was super nervous.
Did your mom and your pop come to the first show?
No.
They did,
I was like, I need like a month to get it together.
You don't want to be looking out there looking for them.
Yeah, especially because they saw me do it in Vegas.
So what inspires you?
My family is like my biggest inspiration. Because now I feel like I'm doing it for them. Like, I've been doing this thing for me for a while, and like, I'm like, okay, I got this. And so now I feel like I'm doing it for them. They're able to like go on all the journeys that I take them on or that I get to experience. Or for those who used to dance or can't dance anymore for whatever reason, if they're, no longer with us, or they're like hurt, or they can't afford the dream to do what it takes to get to the dream. Like, I feel like I'm like supporting those people. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So you guys, inspirational quotes. Oh yeah. I love quotes, cards. I can just like be in a card store all day.
What's your favorite quote?
There's way too many, but I saw one this morning that I love, and it said, "If you're gonna rise, you might as well shine." And I like that, like rise and shine.
All right, I'm okay with that. It's a little cheesy, but
cheesy is fine for me.
Okay,
it's what got me together today. So,
so check this out.
We're shining.
You were just saying like family is really important, or now you're working, for your family instead of from a selfish place. And we all know this. People who come from different places and we move to this city, it's kind of lonely. And I've noticed just from hanging out with you and your crew that you guys have built like this super crazy strong family. You know what I mean? Like, what did that like naturally occur because you're in the show, or did you guys have to work for that to happen? Or was that like a serious goal for you? Like, I'm gonna build this new family here in New York City.
It was never a goal. I think it just happened organically. I feel like I remember when I lived in Vegas, we all came from different places together, so it was easy to connect. And like, we didn't know anybody out there. It's lonely. You like, all you have is each other. But when I got here, like the Broadway crew, they like come to work and they go home. Like they were older. They already had their things because they had been here for a while because the show's been running for forever. And so now that we have a newer group, it just happened a bit organically. Like, we're all we got in this big city, you know what I mean? And like artists, dancers, singers, whoever, Broadway community, they have to, we have to hold each other down and support each other. You know what I mean? And so, it was kind of an organic thing.
Okay. You're on Broadway, you're in New York City, and I'm assuming all types of opportunities come up because of the exposure you have of being here, So you've been with Jill Scott. You've also been with Monica, right? Like, how does that happen? Like, man, people want to know how they can be you.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? There's some little girls out there, some little boys or whatever, some young adults, and they want to come to New York City. They want to be on the Jill Scott video. They want to be on Broadway. Like, how did you get the Jill Scott opportunity in particular?
Well, I was at the point where I was like, I'm just done trying to, because you get the Broadway thing and you're like, okay, I have this amazing job, and I was like content for a while, which is okay to be. And then I was like, okay, so what is the next stream? Like, what else can I do?
Okay.
And so, I jotted some things down, and I was like, okay, I should try print. I should try commercial. So got an agent, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like going to all these things and not getting anything. And I was like,
oh, wow.
I'm done. This is it. I'm taking a break. And then one morning I got a phone call and they were like, we're having this audition. I was going to Target. Why am I always going to Target when I get
Target
news?
is your good luck place.
Yeah.
Dang.
And I was going to Target and they were like, there's this audition. They're looking for a dancer. Can you go now? And I was like, now? No, I'm at Target. So I like called my mom. Oh no, I talked to my Nana and she was like, because I talked to my Nana about everything. And she was like, just go. She was like, what are you going to lose? And I was like, but I've been going to all these things. I'm not getting anything. So I went. It was in Chinatown. It was like meat hanging from the thing. It was horrible. What a horrible experience in Chinatown.
First of all, I like Chinatown. Chinatown is the shit. But
I like Chinatown, but it's smelly and it's like meat hanging from...
It's fresh meat. But anyway, keep going with your story.
It just really threw me off a little bit. So I'm going to this audition with like unprepared. And you know me, I like to be prepared. I had socks, no dance shoes, no resume, no headshot. And I go to this audition and I see like 1 billion girls. And I was like, oh God. Because, you know, what a lot of people don't know is that like there's always going to be someone who looks just like you or prettier than you, or they know exactly what they want, like the look that they want. And you may or may not be it. You just always have to go and hope that you're the one. So I couldn't stay because I had a show to do. So I go up to this guy who is Alan Ferguson, who's like Solange's husband, but he's also the music producer, like a big music producer.
Okay.
And I was like, I have a show to go to. I'm in The Lion King, blah, blah, blah. But I really want to audition. He's like, please put me next. It was like billions of girls. And he was like, okay, you can go next. So I go up there and I have nothing. And I was like, I can mail you my headshot. I can see you my resume, you know, whatever. And they were like, we want you to improv to this song.
Oh, wow.
Improv means you just,
right.
For people who don't know,
okay.
you do your own
make it up.
thing
right.
on spot. And I was like, well, what is the song about? Because I can't just go up here and start dancing around and I don't know. Mm-hmm. So it was the single. And so I went up there and then they put me with like 2 other people. And then that was it. Went to the show, heard from them the next day. And they were like, we would like you to be the lead, but we're trying to find other dancers. So then they booked Complexions, which is another company. And from there, it was just like this whole new world because, you know, I did the dance company world and I did the Broadway world, but I never imagined that I would be in a music video. Because when you think
right.
music video, you don't think like contemporary ballet dance. You think other dance styles of dance, which are valid. Just not necessarily what I would be doing.
So politically correct.
Absolutely.
All right.
For the cameras.
Heard that.
So now I'm tapping into this whole new world and scared. Oh my God, I was scared to death. Because not only did I have to dance, but I had to act for the first time alone. And like, for a while, I just considered myself a dancer. And dancers act, of course.
Yeah.
But I wasn't dancing. I was just literally acting. And I had to like cry. And it was just like, I was like, I can't do this. Like I started like second guessing myself.
Oh no.
But yeah, I did it. And that's another major experience that I still can't believe that happened. So yeah, another dream.
So you've had all this time, like, you know, you're knocking dreams out left and right. Bam, bam.
Oh God.
Right? You know? So you're on Broadway, you're doing some, you know, Chill Sky videos, you're doing all kind of stuff, right?
Yes. Commercials,
whatever. What have you learned from all of your experiences thus far?
What have I learned? I've learned that, you know, something that your parents or your people tell you at a very early age, that you can do anything you want to do or be anything you want to be. I know it sounds super silly, but you can do and be those things. But confidence is key. Like, you have to believe in yourself first or no one else is really going to believe in you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even though I walked into, like, for instance, the Jill Scott audition being like, what am I about to do? And for a second, I, like, second-guessed myself. And then I was like, okay, I'm a dancer. Like, this is what I do. So, like, go in there and do what you know you can do. And then, you know, yeah, you just have to believe. Write your dreams down. Like, speak them into existence. And then, like, as scary as they may be, just try it. Just, like,
put your toe in.
Put your foot in. It might be real cold. Might come back.